Hi, I'm Sofia. You're watching Paraligo, and in this video you will find out how you can make an oval crochet clutch bag and waist bag 2-in-1. Stay tuned. Supplies list: about 500 grams of thick t-shirt yarn, crochet hooks size 7 and 8, a crochet hook size 6, 4 stitch markers, a darning needle, a zipper, 5 hooks with an inward opening, a metal chain shoulder strap, resilient thread and needle for sewing, and a pair of scissors. Start with a slip knot. Fold the end of your yarn, place your hook in the middle, wrap the end around your hook and twist it. Yarn over and pull a loop. Pull your yarn to tighten your slip knot. Now make 5 tight chains. Yarn over and pull a loop. Note that your chain should be quite tight. Again, yarn over and pull a loop, and repeat 3 more times. Here are our 5 chains. Now insert your hook into the 3rd chain, but make sure to go under the top loop and the back bump of your chain, like that. Yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops on your hook. That was a single crochet. Repeat into the next chain. Insert your hook under the top loop and the back bump. Might be a bit tricky because our chain is tight, but that's how it should be. And place a single crochet. Yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops on your hook. Place 1 more single crochet into the last chain. And we completed 3 single crochet. Now loosen your slip knot and place 3 single crochet into the slip knot. Pull the tail to tighten your slip knot again. And place 3 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. The first stitch is this funny little loop. And the second is the bottom loop of our chain. And so is the third. Now place 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and this might be a bit hard. But don't panic, it will only be like this in the beginning. This was the first. And this was the second, which was easier. Now to finish the first round, loosen your open loop, release your hook, and insert into the next stitch from the reverse side of your work. Grab your open loop and pull it in. Loosen your open loop some more and pass your entire work through. Pull your yarn to tighten and close the loop. And we are ready for the second round. Now move to the stitch next to your join. This is your join. And insert into the post of the stitch the little V formed under and between two single crochet. Yarn over and pull a loop. And chain 1. Now go into the post of the next stitch and place a single crochet. Here's where your exit should be. Now yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over again and pull through both loops on your hook. That was a waistcoat stitch. Place one more waistcoat stitch into the next stitch. In other words, a single crochet into the post of the next stitch. Now place 2 waistcoat stitches into each of the next 3 stitches. 3 stitch couples. Place a stitch marker to the first stitch of the first couple. One more waistcoat stitch into the same stitch. And repeat 2 more times. Place a marker to the last stitch of the last couple. Place 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. Now place 3 more couples into the next 3 stitches. In other words, 2 waistcoat stitches into each of the next 3 stitches. And again mark the first and the last of these 6 stitches. The stitch that will host the last couple might be a bit of a challenge to locate, but if you watch carefully, you'll find it. And this brings us to the end of the second round. So to finish, loosen your open loop, insert your hook into the next stitch from the reverse side of your work, grab your open loop and pull it in. Oops, I think I got the wrong type of stitch markers. Now loosen your open loop some more and pass your entire work through. Like that. Finally, pull your yarn to tighten and close the loop. Ready to start the third round, and to do so, insert your hook into the stitch next to your join, yarn over, pull a loop and chain one. Place one waistcoat stitch into the next stitch. Remove the marker and place one waistcoat stitch into the first stitch of the first couple. And place your stitch marker back. Now place two waistcoat stitches into the next stitch. Again, place one waistcoat stitch into the next stitch. And two waistcoat stitches into the next. And repeat one more time. One waistcoat stitch into the next stitch and two into the stitch with the marker. Remember to place the marker back into this last stitch of the last couple. Also be wise and use the other type of stitch markers that don't fall off all the time. Now place 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. Now between the markers, repeat the previous pattern. A waistcoat stitch into the first stitch of each couple, followed by 2 waistcoat stitches into the second stitch of each couple. Don't forget to mark the first and the last of these 9 stitches. Place one waistcoat stitch into the remaining stitch. And we reach the end of the third round. We will finish the usual way. Loosen the open loop, release your hook, insert into the next stitch from the reverse side of your work, grab the open loop and pull it in. Loosen the loop a bit more, and pass your entire work through. Finally, pull your yarn to tighten and close the loop. So let's start the fourth round. Insert your hook into the post of the next stitch. Yarn over, pull a loop and chain one. Remove the marker and place 2 waistcoat stitches into the first stitch. Place the stitch marker back into the very first. Now place the second stitch of the couple. Place 2 waistcoat stitches into the next 2 stitches. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. A couple of waistcoat stitches into the first stitch, followed by 2 waistcoat stitches into the next 2 stitches. Don't forget to place the marker into the last of these 12 stitches. Now place 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. Repeat the previous pattern between the stitch markers. 2 waistcoat stitches into the first stitch, place back the marker into the first, and 2 waistcoat stitches into the next 2 stitches. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. As always, place the marker back into the last stitch. Finally, place 2 waistcoat stitches into the 2 remaining stitches. And to finish the 4th round, loosen your open loop, release your hook, remove the stitch marker and insert your hook from the reverse side of your work. Grab the open loop and pull it in. Loosen the loop some more and pass your entire work through. Pull your yarn to tighten and close the loop. From now on, we won't place back the stitch markers we removed because we will not need them anymore. But this one dropped, so I will place it back. Ready for the 5th and final round of increases. Insert your hook into the post of the next stitch, pull a loop, and chain 1. Place 2 waistcoat stitches into the next 2 stitches. Place 2 waistcoat stitches into the next stitch. And here is the actual increase pattern for this round. 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. And 2 waistcoat stitches into the next stitch. Repeat one more time. Place 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. Remove the stitch marker and repeat the previous increase pattern. 3 waistcoat stitches into the next 3 stitches. And 2 waistcoat stitches into the following stitch. Repeat 2 more times. And with that, we got rid of our stitch markers. Now place 3 waistcoat stitches into the 3 remaining stitches. And finish the 5th round in the usual way. Loosen your open loop, release your hook, insert into the next stitch from the reverse side of your work, pull the loop in, loosen it some more, and pass your entire work through. Finally, pull your yarn to close the loop. And with that, we completed the 5th round. Now, depending on your yarn and applied tension, you might notice that your work tends to twist. If so, it might be a good idea to iron it before we move to the 6th round, but make sure to rub it with a towel to avoid glazing. To start the 6th round, insert your hook into the post of the next stitch, pull a loop and chain 1. Place a waistcoat stitch into each stitch until the end of the round. Finish the round in the usual way and repeat for the 7th round. Back again at the end of the 7th round. And now cut your yarn and fasten off. Insert your hook into the next stitch. From the reverse side of your work, yarn over and pull the tail up. Insert your hook into the last stitch of the round, front loop only, grab the tail and pull it down. Thread the tail to your darning needle and insert into the stitch that carries the yarn to bring it to the inside of your work. Weave the tail in the reverse side of the stitches. And cut the excess. Use the 7mm hook to weave in the short tail of the beginning. And that completed the first half of our bag. Create an exact copy using the exact same way. At the end of the second half of the bag, leave a long tail of around 1 meter. Thread the tail of the second half to your darning needle. And bring the yarn at the inside of your work. Insert the needle into the nearest reverse stitch and pass the yarn through the next 4 reverse stitches. These would be the first 4 stitches of the 7th round. Now put the zipper in place and mark or eyeball the start and ending point. Remove the darning needle and count 8 stitches from the join stitch of the 7th round. Place a stitch marker into the join stitch of the 7th round of the other half. Bring the two halves together with the 2 join stitches at a distance of 8 stitches between them. Use the stitch marker to keep the two halves into place. Use more if you must. Turn the back so that the tailless half is close to you and the half with the tail on top. Insert your hook into the stitch close to your yarn, back loop only, and into the corresponding stitch of the other half, again back loop only. Yarn over and pull a loop. Insert your hook into the next stitch of the upper half, back loop only, and into the corresponding stitch of the other half. Yarn over, pull a loop, and pull one loop through the other in a slip stitch. Repeat into the next stitch. Always back loop only. Continue slip stitching the two halves together until you complete 17 slip stitches. And that was the 17th slip stitch. Now fasten off . Thread the tail to your darning needle. Insert into the back loop of the next stitch and bring the yarn at the inside of the bag. Weave the tail in the reverse side of the stitches and tie a knot to secure it. Let's move on to the zipper. Thread your sewing thread to your sewing needle and start placing back stitches of around 2 centimeters each all around the zipper. Make sure to go twice in the ends. When you reach the end of the side, cross over and repeat. Finally, secure the thread at the reverse side of the zipper and cut. Use your 6mm hook to attach the zipper to the bag. Insert your hook into both loops of the last slip stitch, fold the end of your yarn, yarn over and pull a loop. Insert into the next stitch, again both loops, yarn over, pull a loop and slip stitch. Pull your yarn to tighten your stitch. Bring your zipper close. Insert your hook into the next stitch of the bag and into the first stitch of the zipper. Yarn over and pull a loop. Now pull one loop through the other in a slip stitch. Place the end of the zipper under the end of the seam. Insert your hook into the next stitch of the bag and the next stitch of the zipper. Yarn over and pull a loop. And slip stitch. Repeat until the end of the side. When you reach the end of the side, turn your work, open the zipper, insert your hook into the first stitch of the other side, yarn over, pull a loop, and slip stitch. Slip stitch the rest of the zipper to the back the same way you did with the first side. When you reach the end, turn the bag, insert your hook into the last stitch of the seam, both loops, yarn over, pull a loop and slip stitch. Cut the yarn and fasten off. Insert your hook into the next stitch from the reverse side and pull the tail in. Tie the two tails at the inside of the bag into a tight knot and weave the rest in. Cut the excess. And the bag is almost ready. Now take two of the larger O-rings and insert them into two stitches of both halves of the bag, in the beginning and the end of the zipper. And let's move to the final step, the strap. Take the metal chain and the 6mm hook, fold the end of your yarn, insert the hook into the first chain, yarn over and pull a loop. Chain 2. Bring the tail to the front to carry, insert your hook into the next chain and place a single crochet. Yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over again and pull through both loops on your hook. Repeat into the next chain. Continue like this until the end of the metal chain. When you reach the end of the chain, cut the yarn and fasten off. Thread the tail to your darning needle. And weave it in the reverse side of the stitches. To complete the strap, take the last two larger O-rings and insert each one through both the first stitch and metal chain on both ends of the strap. finally insert the O-rings of the strap to the O-rings of the bag. And it's ready! My beloved viewers, thank you so much for staying. If you liked what you watched, give us a thumbs up, make a comment and share. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and visit paraligo.com for a free pattern of this bag and many more. Until next time, take care. Mwah!